They define the landscape wherever you go in this country. A nation's gratitude and grief set forever in stone. This had been a new kind of war, causing the death of more than 1 million British and Commonwealth servicemen and women, and it needed a new form of mourning.
There was no precedent of how we should commemorate the dead. The idea that we commemorate everybody by name, certainly not.
The country was in new territory as it began honouring the dead through cemeteries like this one on Cannock Chase. Those buried here died in the UK, but the sheer number of dead meant the bodies of those killed abroad stayed where they fell.
Well, imagine your loved one going off to fight in never coming back, and then you'd be told, we're not going to give you their body. Now, during the First World War, so many people were involved from all walks of life that it was decided that we had to commemorate these individuals.
And so, in stark contrast to previous conflicts, every life lost, whatever their rank, was remembered by a name on a memorial or a grave somewhere in the world. And those who had been the enemy were afforded the same respect as our own dead. This was a war which cost millions their lives on both sides, and when this cemetery was built, it recognised that mutual sacrifice. The graves for soldiers from the UK and New Zealand lie alongside those of German soldiers. Opponents on the battlefield, they lie side by side in death. The quiet of the graveyards was a world away from the euphoric celebrations of Armistice Day. Across the country, an outpouring of relief at the announcement of peace. At Birmingham Cathedral, there was a special service which had to be held 3 times to fit everyone in. In the months that followed, soldiers began to return back home, and some of those that came back to West Bromwich did something rather special. In 1919, there was still no monument to those who died from the area, so returning troops paid for their own tribute. This the modern-day scene. This what it looked like then.
So the ex-servicemen who returned from the conflict set about organising a whip round, effectively, and they themselves paid for the monument to be erected.
The monument was eventually moved to a housing estate, but was then lost for decades until historian Terry Price traced it to Heath Lane's cemetery. A fitting tribute with a remarkable story.
I don't know how many monuments there are in the country where the actual soldiers who came back from the conflict built their own memorial to their comrades. But it is unique and makes it very special.
Memorials like this appeared as the years passed and the country continued to reflect. This, the opening of the Nicholson Monument in Leek, thought to be the tallest in the country, each unveiling a chance to bring together a grieving community. There was no ignoring the absence of those who had never returned, but it was felt at least that putting memorials at the centre of every city, town and village would keep their memory at the heart of everyday life. Melissa Wright, ITV News.